Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and we're back with another bracelet where I'm going to try to center it, make the most sense of it, because it kind of doesn't make. There's like no clear spot where you're just like, oh, that's what's supposed to be how it starts. So we'll make the center the more key component and let it end how it ends. Right. So I just copied a little bit of it, bring it over here to my template, paste it in. Again, this one won't matter which way we rotate it. So we'll just go ahead and rotate that 90 degrees clockwise, get the thing that enlarges it. That looks good. Slide it up here a ways. And I think we're going to go with the diamond in the center as our center point because it kind of makes sense. Again, I can't just do 1/4 of this because of the way that it moves. Man, that one row though, boy, is that going to get... Yeah, there's going to be a string that gets used an awful lot here. That's obvious. All right. Instead of doing white, let's do yellow. Or, I need a color. Let's go with a bright green. Need a color to stand out against this stuff here. Our layer is floating. Let's anchor that. There we go. Now we can go to the other layer, get our paint tool, and there is a dot right there in the center. And then over here, it's 3 this way, 3 the other. And over here is the great big long row. And it doesn't go all the way to the edge. It stops here and it keeps doing that backwards and forth. So we can just kind of put this in right out the gate and then figure out the rest as we go along. So there we go. This string here obviously gets used an awful lot. So make sure that you cut that string accordingly. That's going to be potentially troublesome. Mind you, I cut my string in thirds, like 1/3 of a skein, and it really prevents me from having, real trouble with running out. It'll get short, for sure, but I don't run out during a bracelet. So that's kind of why I do it. Typically speaking, it means that I end up with a little bit of leftover string each time, and then I'll put that into a case, and yeah, it ends up for me where I can use that for other projects. So, all right, so this dot for the center thing happens like that as we go up. And then it's here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. This is kind of a little bit easier to set up than I had anticipated. That's cool. So there'd be a green dot there. Yeah, this is another case of where I think we're going to trim off one row, because otherwise there'd be this right here. Yeah, let's do that. So paint tool, choose our white background. We go hit this, and then if you hit the shift button, it'll allow you to create like a whole straight line going across. And then you can just kind of clear up the little bits that are left. So yeah, ends just a little bit easier, or starts just a little bit easier. That'll be nice. So we already have the underlying string for this long one. Let's go back to our paint tool, grab our green, and take a look and see about this other. I see. I'm trying to figure out like what the path is for this stuff here. And so far it appears like we only need 2 of this bright green here, which would have been the white in the original pattern. I'd like to balance it to have 3 and 3 again, if that's possible. And you can see I'm just kind of following the paths down, trying to, if there's 2 strings come in, 2 strings come out. And there are cases where like here this changes direction, but then you have this one coming in from the other side, so there's 2 coming in, there we go, with 2 coming back out. So it's just, you have to use a little caution to make sure that you're not creating another path out where there wasn't one. And yeah. All right, so green, let's go with a dark blue as our other color. So okay. I'm just kind of following a path, just like how does this naturally flow if we just let it go left and right knots? Do I have, if I didn't have to change it, I'm not, just to kind of see. And yeah, it's kind of working itself out just fine. Let's go with the other side. Let's see what this one does. Surprisingly, it's just seems to be fitting in with just making rows. It's going underneath periodically, but for the most part, it's just following its own little path. Kind of cool. All right. So the next one in would be this. I'm halfway tempted doing 2 at a time, but it just gets more confusing. So just a little bit easier to just do 1 at a time, figure out how it goes. And the trick will be that all of the spaces that are left get filled in. If there's spaces that aren't filled in, then we have a problem, because it basically means we didn't have the color to cover some space or whatever. All right. But if we manage to get, there's like 3 strings, the one I'm working with, and 2 more. If we manage to get all of the spaces covered with that, then we can go ahead and put in those light greens as the 4th and 5th string. And that would be awesome. That would be really cool. Because at the end of the day, if it's an equal number of strings, I can cut the strings in thirds and just have basically 2 skeins of each color. Oop. Went outside the line there. All right. Across, that was fine. This is working out pretty well. Mind you, again, you don't necessarily have to go to this much trouble if you're making it for yourself. The key part that you needed was where are you starting the bracelet at, and knowing how you're going to finish it. All the rest of this could be done from just knowing, like looking at the other part of the pattern. Like I want for myself to have it balanced where it's, you know, basically the even part of the beginning and the end of it. So yeah, if I wasn't trying to make a pattern that I'm going to use over on my website to show you how it turned out, I wouldn't necessarily kind of go to this much trouble. Like I said, I just want to know where it starts and what I'm doing, and then go from there. Mind you, though, this is a little bit complicated, so it is going to be kind of nice to have a good working pattern. All right, so it looks like I can look at all the spaces are filled in, so then I can put the bright green in the one that's left. And the plus side there is, you see how this just joins? If we went straight, a different string ends up doing the long bit there. So that means that we don't have to worry as much about that particular string running out, which is a big problem. Like that, I've seen bracelets that, you know, the whole project gets scrapped because it didn't run long enough. So not something we want, something I'm trying to help you guys to adjust for. And there we go. So it balances out equal numbers of both. Awesome. All right, now we get the select tool and select this whole top half here. Copy paste, get our flip tool, go to the horizontal line, flip it. And look at that, it lands perfect. I thought you may have had to flip it a second time, but no, it's exactly how it needs to be. Go up here, anchor that layer, and merge it down. And then we have just one image for it. And there's our bracelet. That's really cute. I'm not decided on the colors yet. I have no idea what I'm going to use, but we will come to that tomorrow when I make this. I'll let you know how it goes. All right. Before I go, let me thank my YouTube members for making this possible. Their contributions help me pay for things like string and all the other kind of stuff that we have going on around here. So thank you guys very much for keeping the channel going. Can't thank you guys really enough. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for hanging out for the whole video. That's kind of nice. If you could hit the like button, and as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.